Well, hello everybody. It's been a while. Well, the last time we spoke, it was 2022. Now it's 2023. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Hope everybody had a nice, safe New Year. Well, I went down there to see the ball drop, and something happened down there. But unless you were down there, you don't know what happened. So I'm not even going to get into it. All right, let's talk some football because that's the time of the year. So before we talk about this weekend's championship games, let's talk about the playoffs from the very beginning. All right, let's talk about the first games that we have for wild card weekend. All right, so you had Cincinnati and Baltimore who played the week before. Cincinnati wins the game 24-10. Point spread was 7.5 and 40. 24-17, sorry. If you took Baltimore and 7.5, you won. If you took 7, you would have gotten the push. So it went over by 1 point, so you got that. Let's talk about Buffalo, Miami. It snowed there, but Miami, you give them credit in the first half, they hung in there. The point spread was 14, which was a lot. And the over and under was 49.5. So what I've been talking about the past couple of weeks is like, if you really want to bother, you could take the first half. Because sometimes some teams that are underdog actually hang in there in the first half, and in the second half, they fall apart. So when I saw the point spread was 14, I said, let me check and see what the first half, point spread's going to be. So when I saw 8.5, I said, you know what, I'm going to grab it. So I actually did. And they're only down by a point going into the second half. So if you took Miami and 8.5, you won the first half. So like I said, the game went back and forth. And remember, Miami was playing with a third string quarterback. Tua was out. Bridgewater got hurt in the first play. And then Skylar Thompson, who played college for a couple of different teams, including Kansas State, he did a decent job. But if you watch the end of the game, they fell apart. So more probably on his end because of inexperience. I mean, you got 5 minutes to go. You're down by 3. You're moving downfield and you're wasting timeouts because you're looking at the clock or just you're not in sync. So Buffalo hung on 34-31. Went well over the over and under. And if you took Miami with the 14, you won easy. All right, let's talk about another game. Before we talk about the most interesting ones, Tampa Bay and Dallas. Dallas was 2.5 point favorite against Tampa Bay, and the over and under was 45.5. Well, Dallas won with ease. Tom Brady is 45 years old, and he played like he was 45 years old. So, memo to Brady, retire already before somebody retires you. That's simple. Again, I'm a Giant fan, so I'm not a Brady fan. Okay, if somebody wants to take him out, be my guest. Nobody will feel sorry for him. To me, you stayed a year too long. You should have retired, but you know what? You're Tom Brady. You have something to prove in your mind. Nothing else. So Dallas won easy. Didn't even need much of Elliott to do anything. Defensively, they did their job, and they basically just shut down what Tampa Bay had, which isn't much. Only reason why Tampa Bay even hung in there probably in the first half is because their defense isn't bad. Other than that, this was no contest. So if you took Dallas to the 2.5, you won easy. Over and under was 45.5. So basically it went under. But if you took 46, you would have had under. Take 45, would have been a push. So there you go. All right, another game that was really interesting was Seattle visiting San Francisco, getting 8.5, and the over and under was 42. Now this game was interesting because this is the third time they played each other in the past couple of weeks. One to me, if you play your division rival or within your division, especially going to the playoffs, you've already played them twice already. So the third time, basically, 9 out of 10 times the game will be close because you already know each other. I mean, injuries can make it different, but if everybody's okay, makes the game interesting. So at halftime, surprisingly, but this one I discussed again, 7.5. The point spread, the first half, it was 5.5, and I'm going like, well, you know what? I'm gonna take that and see what happens. And if you took it, Seattle was winning at halftime, 17-16. So it got interesting. But in the second half, San Francisco said enough of this. They outscored them 25-6, and they won going away 41-23 to advance to play the Cowboys. And the over and under, obviously they went over. All right, let's talk about two games that were really interesting. One game did not surprise me. Well, it did, but again, it's the team that I'm talking about. All right, so Jacksonville, who I've been talking about for the past month and a half, that I've been talking about, Detroit and Jacksonville, might maybe making the playoffs. Well, Jacksonville did. They even won the division. And the reason why Detroit didn't make it is because, well, Green Bay won. But I've said this a while ago. If the Giants and Redskins didn't tie, who knows what would have happened. Giants might not have made the playoffs because remember, the Giants lost to Detroit and Seattle. So they would have lost out. So the tie actually helped. So sometimes it hurt, and Washington, it hurt them because, well, they lost out. All right. So if you watch this game, it was a game of halves. So Jacksonville, like I said, going in hot, won 6 in a row. The Chargers being the Chargers. Point spread was 2.5. Jacksonville favored, and it was 46.5. Now, like I said, this was a tale of two halves. So the game starts. Jacksonville gets the ball. Trevor Lawrence throws the ball, gets intercepted. Chargers move down, touchdown. 7-0. Now in this game, like I said, the points for was 2.5. Well, I like Jacksonville, so what I did is I took 4 points. I said, maybe it come down to a field goal, maybe it won't. First half thing I didn't bother with, so I left that alone. But I said Jacksonville, if they might lose, they hang in there. So 7, they move down. Echo scores touchdown, 7-0. Jacksonville gets the ball back again, another interception, 14-0. Jacksonville gets the ball back, another one. This was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this. So basically, going into late in the second quarter, it's 27-0 Chargers. And I'm going like, okay, Jacksonville, at least try to score something going into the second half, because if they're going to be down 27-0, I don't know if they're going to do what Minnesota did a couple of weeks ago when they came back from about 28, or was it, I think 31-3 or something, or 28-0. So I'm going like, I don't know if they have enough firepower to do that. So just before the half, Evan Ingram, who used to play for the Giants, now he's the tight end for Jacksonville, scores to make it 27-7. I said, okay, now maybe there's something going on. So Chargers got the ball for the beginning of the second half. Jacksonville got the ball back, but here's the thing I want to talk about the first half. Even though they were down 27-7, think of it this way. First of all, it wasn't Jacksonville's defense the reason why. It was basically Lawrence just throwing the ball all over the place. So basically, he threw 4 interceptions in the first half, something that hasn't been done in a while. Now, think of it this way. They scored 27 points out of a possible 35. Now, they could have easily been down 35-7. That would have changed anything. So you got to give the Jacksonville defense some credit. They actually did hold them to 2 field goals. So like I said, 27-7 going to the second half. Chargers do nothing. First possession, second half. Jacksonville goes down, scores the touchdown to make it 27-14. And I'm going like, okay. Well, you're hanging in there. Let's see what happens. Then the Chargers actually go downfield, kick a field goal. So now it's 30-14. And I said, okay, maybe they're still in this game. They scored to make it 30-20. They go for the 2-point conversion, which I don't understand, but I'm going like, okay, maybe this way if they score, it'll be 8, so I get the 2 point thing. They don't do it. They don't score, and I'm going like, okay, now this makes it even more interesting. So it's 30-20. Late in the fourth quarter, Jacksonville gets the ball down. This is when the Chargers do what they always do, but I'll get to that at the end. They score a touchdown to make it 30-27. No, 30-26. They go for the 2 point conversion, which I'm going like, why? Just kick the field goal to make it 30-27. I guess maybe they just don't want to go into overtime if they even get that chance. They make it. So it's 30-28 with less than, I think, 3 or 4 minutes to go. And they're moving downfield. Now remember, they were down 27-0, but 27-7 going into the second half. So they moved downfield. Now, I was watching something else at the time because I was like, I don't know if they're going to come back from this. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to go watch this. So they moved downfield, and they get down to like the 35-yard line with about 3 seconds to go. And to my amazement and anybody else that was there to watch this thing, Jacksonville, which is down 27-0, 27-7, the half, wins the game 31-30. Okay, now let's talk about this very simple. Jacksonville just did not give in. They said, look, they got play with house money, got nothing to lose, shouldn't even be there. This is the history of the Chargers. I look at the Chargers the same way I look at the Clippers. They're basically, the cousins and stepchild to every LA team that's out there. The Clippers to the Lakers, the Chargers to the Raiders, or the Rams, or the Niners, or any LA team we're talking about. Or as I call them, bunch of choke artists, because that's what they do. I don't care. It goes from Phillip Rivers to now Hubert. Dan Fouts didn't do this, but Dan Fouts almost got them the Super Bowl until they had to go to Cincinnati back in the 90s when it was 50 below zero. And the team from California playing at 50 below zero, not happening. But that was, again, somewhere 92, I think. So, yeah, so Jacksonville advances to play the winner of the Kansas City. Well, they ended up playing Kansas City. Kansas City had to bye because they were the number 1 seed. Okay? So, what happens is in the AFC, Kansas City is playing Jacksonville, and Buffalo is playing Cincinnati. So let's talk about the NFC, which we talked about with the Cowboy game and the Seattle game. Let's talk about the Giants. Go Giants. Okay, so this game, they played a couple of weeks ago. Giants lost to Minnesota in Minnesota on a 61-yard field goal. So I'm going like, okay, these two teams know each other. Both going in there hot. Giants, I say, hotter than Minnesota. So they grabbed Minnesota grabbed the lead quick, 7-0, and I'm going like, uh-oh. But the Giants going like, okay, now it's our turn. They go down there, Barkley, 28-yard run. Barkley, who's going to definitely win the comeback player of the year, easily. Ties the game up 7-7. I said, okay. Then they grabbed the lead 14-7, then 21-7, and I said, okay, just keep on doing what you're doing. Basically what happens is at the end, Minnesota had a chance to tie the game up when the Giants won in 31-24, but the Giants stopped them on 4th down. So the Giants advance. So basically what happens is Dallas travels to San Francisco to play the 49ers, and my Giants travel to Philly to play the Eagles. Yeah, not the best of things. So let's talk about what happened last week. So let's talk about first Kansas City playing Jacksonville. All right, point spread was 9.5. Over and under was 52.5. Now they did play during the season, and Jacksonville only lost, I think, 30-20. So I'm going like, you know what? It's 9.5. Give me 10 points. Give me 11 points. No problem. First half, I said, well, you know what? It was at 5.5 or 6.5. So I said, okay, I'm going to grab the 6.5. So Jacksonville was only down by 7 going into the second half. They had many chances to tie this game up, but at the end of the day, you know, Kansas City's Kansas City. But if you did watch the game, while Mahomes was trying to go out of the pocket, somebody fell on his ankle and he turned it. He has so he got a high ankle sprain. How he played the rest of the game, I don't know. But basically, what happened was he played the game through it. So Chad Henne, who was the backup, actually was in the game for possession and basically did a good job. Jacksonville failed on the fourth down. No, kicked the ball away on the fourth down, and they pinned them back to the 6-yard line. So I'm going, okay, Jacksonville, this is your chance to tie it up. But you got to give Henne credit. He moved them downfield, and they scored a touchdown to make it 27-13. Jacksonville scored late to make it 27-20, but at the end, it just wasn't enough, and Kansas City won 27-20. So if you took the first half with 6.5, you won that, and if you took the 10 points, which I told you to take, you won with Jacksonville. Over and under was 52. It went under. So let's talk about the game that people were talking about, to me, the best game of the weekend. Buffalo and Cincinnati. Going in, I've been telling people this for the whole year, and even before the playoffs, I said Cincinnati and San Francisco is my Super Bowl pick. I even said this before the playoffs even started. So Cincinnati, of course, is my pick in this game. So, everybody's talking about the Hamlin thing, and he was actually there for the game. So, you figure emotionally, Buffalo's going to be up for the game, obviously. But again, these two teams know each other, because remember, when the Hamlin thing happened, it was against Cincinnati. So here's what's happening in this particular game. If Buffalo wins, because of what happened on the other one, because of what happened with the Hamlin incident, that they were going to have a neutral site because Buffalo and Kansas City would end up with the same record. So then it would have gone to Atlanta. So that's what's at stake in this game. But if Cincinnati wins, then they got to travel to Kansas City, which they already beat this year. That's why I say Cincinnati's got a good shot, because they already beat Buffalo already this year, and they also beat Kansas City. So, game went back and forth. First half, Cincinnati basically took over. They were winning like 21. So, basically, the point spread of this game was 5.5. Buffalo being favored, and the over and under was 48.5. So I go like, fine. I'm gonna take Cincinnati and 7. First half, I'm gonna leave it alone. I would have probably got 3 or 4, but I go like, no, let's just leave it alone. But Cincinnati was winning first half, and they ended up winning the game 27-10. This was no contest. Cincinnati's just the better team. Buffalo had a good season, but Cincinnati, remember, they got there last year, the Super Bowl, lost to the Rams. They want to go back, and I think they got a very good shot. So, like I said, so no Atlanta. So what happens is, this next weekend, Cincinnati goes to Kansas City to play the Chiefs, and the winner goes to the Super Bowl to play we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so what do we got now? All right, so Dallas had to travel to San Francisco. Point spread was 3. Over and under was 46.5. Now going in, I'm going like, okay, you got two defensive teams, so 46.5, easy under. There's like no way they're gonna go over. I don't see it happening. So I'm going like, okay, San Francisco should roll over Dallas. Only reason why Dallas won last week is because they played Tampa Bay. Okay, with a broken down quarterback. So I'm going like, okay, so I figure, 3 points, I'm not even worried about it. But surprise, surprise. Well, this is the playoffs, and I tell people when the playoffs start, everybody got the same record, 0-0. What it was during the year, that helps as far as where you play, but that's as far as that goes. So San Francisco scores late in the second quarter, make it 3-0, 3-3, 6-3 at halftime. I'm going like, okay, this is gonna come down to a field goal contest. Yeah, I guess so. But you know what? That's the way it goes. So yeah, so Dallas scores the tied up at 6-6, and I'm going like, what the heck's going on in this game? So then they grab the lead 9-6, and I'm going like, okay, this is getting too interesting for me. So San Francisco ties it up again, and I'm going like, okay, enough of this already. This has to end. Well, San Francisco finally scores the touchdown. Somebody finally does. Dallas scored to make it 12 to give them score to 12, but the kicker, who the week before couldn't kick an extra kick if his life depended on it, missed another extra point. So going into late in the fourth quarter, San Francisco is winning 19-12. So if you got San Francisco with the 3, you're okay for now. Over and under, no problem. It's under 2 minutes to go, 19-12. Even if the game would have gone into overtime, you still would have been okay. Because just think if the game would have been tied after the fourth quarter, 19-19. So that's 38. Score touchdown, that's 44. So you're still under. So if you got the over and under, you have nothing to worry about. So they get down there. They go on fourth down around I think the 10-yard line, and the guy in San Francisco knocks the ball away. So as usual, how about those Cowboys lose again? Most of the people that are listening to this broadcast weren't alive when they won the Super Bowl. And if you were, you don't even remember when it happened. So, same old Chargers, same old Cowboys. So San Francisco wins. So here we have it set. San Francisco will play the winner of the Eagles and the Giants. Now going in, like I said, I looked at it this way. Giants, even if they lose, they've had a good season. Now you know where you stand now. You know Daniel Jones and Barkley are your franchises for the next 5 to 7 years. You give them a nice contract and you keep them. And then you also found out this season that you actually have some wide receivers. Get rid of Galloway, swallow his contract, whatever it is, get him away. He did nothing. I mean, I understood why they got him, but I guess the best of him was left in Detroit. So that's it. So like I said, you got this kid Hodgkins, who went around the league a couple of times, Cager and Bellinger, who basically replaced Ingram as far as tight ends. So you got 3 guys. Plus, going into into the draft, they got 9 draft picks, which is a lot. So I say most of them use it on defense. The thing is, one thing they haven't had the past couple of years is a decent pass rush. Your cornerbacks, your safeties, you're getting better. But as far as putting pressure on the offensive lines of other teams, it's not there. So hopefully they'll get a couple of people or through trades they can use the draft picks. Maybe they're not going to use all 9 of them for to draft people, but still it's there. So let's talk about the game. Okay, if you blinked, it was over. Philly just dominated. I'm not even going to talk about all of this. Final score was 38-7. What I didn't understand is Philly scores to make it 7-0. I said, okay, Giants, do what you did last week. So they move downfield. It's 4th and 8, 40-yard line. Kick the ball away. But no, you know what they do? On 4th and 8, they go for it. Too early in the game. You do realize this is the team that kicked your ass a couple of weeks ago. Okay? So why are you giving them ammunition? Again, they're home. You're not at home. Philly's at home. So what happens? They go for the 4th and 8. They don't get the first down, and what do you think Philly does? They walk down the field. So it's 7-0, 14-0, 21-0, 28-0. This was not good. Then 31-0. Then they finally scored to make it 31-7. I'm going like, oh, there's life. No, there isn't. Final score 38-7. But like I said, Giants weren't even supposed to make the playoffs this year, so really, it's a moral victory, but it's a victory anyway. Again, like I just said, they know where they stand, they know what they got, just build upon it. That's all. Same thing goes for Jacksonville, same thing goes for Detroit, same thing goes for Seattle. You know, are you going to sign Geno Smith? Well, if you don't, let me tell you something, somebody's going to. Because he had a really good season. He won't be comeback player of the year. That's going to go to Barkley, but still, you know, everybody thought after they got rid of Russell Wilson, well, who's going to pick up, the slack? Well, you found out that somebody actually could. So they don't have a bad team either, so, don't make noise. But like I said, going to next year, I'm guaranteeing this. Detroit and Jacksonville will make the playoffs next year. This is a guarantee. Remember I said that. Okay, so here's where we stand. Going into this week, we got the number 1 seed against the number 2 seed. Philadelphia, 2.5-point favorite against Frisco, over under 46.5. Then you got Kansas City with a wounded Patrick Mahomes playing the hottest team in the playoffs right now with the Cincinnati, over under 48. And the point spread right now, Cincinnati's favored by 1, but to me that's back and forth. All right, let's talk about the Philly game first. Okay, so it's 2.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take San Francisco and 4 points. Why am I going to do that? Because first of all, it's going to go under 46.5, just like the Dallas game did. I see the final score as 17-14. Okay, I see Frisco kicking a late field goal to win 17-14. But again, if not, like I said, don't hang in there. So 17-14, 21-17, whatever the case may be. Now, again, what Frisco has to do is, what the Giants didn't do is, you got to put pressure on Hurts. You don't put pressure on this team, especially Hurts, yeah, Philly will dominate this game. Because that's one thing San Francisco counts on is their defense. Offensively, I mean, you got McCaffrey, you got Ayuk, you got Samuel, you got Kittle. I mean, they all loaded, but still, I think Philly might have a little bit more. Okay, you got Smith, you got Brown, you got Sanders, you got Dallas Goedert as that. You got a couple other people that Boston Scott, who was a giant killer, and again he did it again to them, last weekend. But I think the running game, I will give it to San Francisco because of McCaffrey. But as far as the wide receivers, that's tough. Might have to give the edge maybe to Philly, but it'll be close. Defensively, yes, I know Philly led the league in sacks, so you might have to give it to them, but we'll see about that. But I do like San Francisco winning this thing 17-14. But definitely, if you don't want to touch the point spreads, I say definitely put down a nice amount of money on the under. I do not see this going over 46.5. That will surprise everybody. All right, let's talk about the other game. So like I said, whoever wins this game between Philly and San Francisco will play the winner of Kansas City and Cincinnati. Okay, so let's talk about this once and for all. They played each other during the season. Cincinnati did win. Now let's break down the two teams. Kansas City is loaded just like Philly is loaded, but in different ways. Kansas City is loaded offensively while Philly's loaded defensively. I mean, yeah, Philly's do got a lot, but overall, if you had to pick all four of these teams, Kansas City got more offense than all of these teams. I mean, to me to name everybody would just take too long. Okay, Kelsey being the main guy, but a wounded Mahomes with a high ankle sprain, and I've had a high ankle sprain to understand. With a high ankle sprain, and he sprained it on his plant foot, which is his right foot. So it's going to be tough. So I say put as much pressure on Mahomes as you could. Move him out of the pocket this way, he's going to be limping all over the place. And if somebody puts a hit on him, that'll make it different. So it might actually come down to, Chad Henne saving the day for Kansas City or not. To me, Cincinnati got the advantage as far as the running backs. I mean, I know Pacheco's done a good job for Kansas City. A Rutgers guy, and somebody I know that's going to hopefully listen to this broadcast is a Rutgers alum. You know who I'm talking to here. That'll help, but I think having Mixon and Perrine helps them a lot. So I think they have the advantage there. Wide receivers, well, Cincinnati got Chase. They got Kelsey. They got Schuster. They got Hilaire. Hardman, I think, might be coming back. But there's enough out there. So we'll see about that. Defensively, I say Cincinnati got a better defense. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think it's going to come down to, just like the other game, which defense could put more pressure on the quarterbacks. And remember, Mahomes and Hurts are running quarterbacks. Okay? Purdy, again, rookie quarterback. Everybody's saying, well, he's going to crack sooner or later. Well, when you got a good defense behind you, you can count on them. So he's not going to take any big chances. I don't think there's going to be a lot of 4th and 8s that people are going to go for. I think they're going to just play it the way you should play it. So my pick is Cincinnati to win over and under 48, maybe 27-24, 31-24. So I see San Francisco winning 17-14 and Cincinnati winning either 27-24 or 31-24. So I see San Francisco playing Cincinnati in 2 weeks, California, and I see actually Cincinnati winning. We're not gonna talk about all that stuff now because it's 2 weeks away. So that's basically it. As far as the other stuff we'll talk about, baseball wise, well, you know what happens with Carlos Correa. He ended up re-signing for Minnesota. Okay, listen, you're not gonna be missed. Minnesota's never gonna win anything. They're a punch and Judy team. They make the playoffs just to lose to the Yankees every year. Congratulations, you're like everybody else, except for the Astros, who don't lose to anybody. So I look at, as far as my Mets are concerned, we got what we got. We got Verlander, and we got Scherzer, and whoever our 3rd, 4th, and 5th is. The Japanese guy comes in. We'll see how good he is. He could be another Tanaka, who knows, or another Otani. We will find that out. As far as everybody else they got, I think they'll be fine. Maybe they can get another hitter, whoever that might be, but I think they're gonna be just fine. So that's that. Okay, people. I guess that's it. So enjoy the games. Listen to what I said, and if you don't, that's on you. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, and everybody have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.